Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a lot of sanding. That's about all we're going to do. We may be able to get to some of the, well, we'll get some epoxying done, but hey, make sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up if you like the content, and make sure to turn on your post notifications to catch all the episodes of the bucket list. And we're going to get started. So one of the things that I did do last evening is I came out and I spent some time just in here cleaning up. I mean, it was a mess. So I hope, that with a little bit of time, that it was well spent. I didn't do everything, but I was at least able to just clean up all of the junk that was all over here, make it a little bit better. But one thing that we are going to do today, we're going to work outside just because of all the sanding that we're going to do. So the idea here is we've got 2 epoxy coats on the outside, but we're going to do a third. I just really wasn't that happy with, some of the flaring as the fiberglass came into the hull. So we're going to take care of that. And any other little niblet thing that we've got, we're going to do that. But then we're going to get the other one down, and I think I'm going to do a little bit better job of blending this in. You don't want to go too far, because if you go too far, you'll get into that weave, and we don't want to do that. That only has 1 coat on it, but that one was done so much better, so I don't think we're going to have that big of a deal. This one here, I spent a little bit more time with, but it is feeling great. Looking great. I'm happy with it, but let's get it outside and we'll start just building our area so we can get things started. So as we get ready, one of the things that I really want to kind of show is not how bad this is, but how much we can bring it back. So if you're seeing the glare off of that, this is 2 epoxy coats, and you're seeing that it's blended in a little bit. Should I have taken a little bit more time? Yeah, maybe, but now I can really get into it. There's some areas here that we still need to watch out for, but it's a whole lot better, and there's still a lot of junk in it, but we're going to get that out. One of the things that I did do is I did start sanding over here, and this has been cut down quite a bit, but there's still a lot that still could be worked on, because this is what it was and this is where it's getting to. And we'll come in here and we'll feather this out and make this nice. This really just seems to be where this is at. There's some ripply up here, but as soon as we take and do a sand on this, that'll come out. Won't have to do much on it. But if we skim coat, and I may not skim coat this again. I may just do the skim coat down here and maybe a little on the other side. I don't know. Probably a little bit on the other side, because I'm still feeling the fiberglass there. But let's go ahead and just gear up, and let's take and just start sanding away on this one. Once we get this one to a certain degree, then we'll take and bring out the other one, and that one only has 1 coat on it. So let's go ahead and get this done. So I've not taken these things down all the way. I can still feel areas there, but you know, when you start seeing the fiberglass starting to come up, that's really enough, because what we're going to do is we're going to take another coat. Now down here it's a little rougher. Now we may take a little work on this right here, but we put another skim coat on there. This should all clean up really nice. We don't have to do much up here. I am going to take a sander over that, but we're not going to put another skim coat up here. It's just along these sides here. I did take, and you probably saw me very quickly using this blade, and this does allow us to shave some of the high spots off, which is actually great because that's all it's doing is just shaving the high spots. We're not really taking anything and cutting in everything. So I highly recommend you getting one of these. This will come a little bit more in handy when we start getting the varnish and some other areas where we may have some drips and we just don't want to get into everything else sanding it. You can do this and it could take off the top. I'm probably going to do this on this side a little bit more so that I don't have to sand as much. But let's just continue on. So I think we've got this one well enough to get in here and put a another skim coat on. It's really starting to lay down really nice. I don't want to get too deep in it, but we're going to put this one off to the side, bring some sawhorses out here and set this on this, and then we'll bring out the other one. Well, before I move this, I'm going to take and dust this off and get a little denatured alcohol and rub it down, and then we'll move it over underneath the tree over there. So let's get at it. So you have to remember that this one's not as far as along. It's only had one coat of epoxy, and this is all up here is still all raw. So we need to come in here and sand these out. A lot of this is done by hand. I'm going to try to keep this out of the sun as much as possible. I think I'm going to move this down this way as the sun comes up. Actually, it'll start hiding a little bit. But let's just go ahead and take out a few hand tools, and we'll get in this right here with, I'm going to think we're going to start out with some 80. And then I've got some 120 that we'll do in there, maybe some 100, but we'll do a lot of this by hand. So let's get. we're able to do this all with 80, and I did go down to a 60 on some. So I'm just going to come back here and kind of just feather this out with a 150. Okay, I think I'm good with that. Heck, you could continue to do this all day until that was perfect. We're going to then take, after I get the other one, we'll come in here with some epoxy. And I will take and epoxy this up. And then we may be able to bring the other one out to do the skim coat on the sides. We'll flip this over and sand the hull. Make sure those are feathered a little bit better so that when we do that skim coat, it won't take as much as what we did over there. So that hopefully that'll make that work a little bit better. So I brought the boat back in here, get it out of the sun. One of the things that we're going to do is we're just going to come in here and put a coat on around the coaming and also around the hatch. We will take and just clean it first with denatured alcohol, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a first skim coat on the top here. It shouldn't take too long to do. Let's do that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put this one up here to allow it to dry. Hopefully I can get that done without messing up this top coat. And then we'll bring the other one in out of from outside. It's not in the sun, but it's kind of in the sun. But we want to just take it out and bring it in here. So let's go ahead and get started. So we've got our first coat, or at least our first skim coat on this one. We probably, it seems to be okay. And actually this has the third coat on that, which is probably overkill. This is the second on here, which is looking great. So we're gonna just take and I do want to come out here with just a little bit more. Well, I'm seeing a little run there. I'm not going to mess with it. But this is looking like it's starting to close that weave. We'll make sure we don't have any drips where these two butt together. As we look around here, there's a few little ones, but like I said, yeah, I'm not going to mess with them because we'll be able to sand those down pretty good. But this is going to be far better than the other one because we're not going to have to put as much effort in this one here. So let's go ahead and put it up on the rack. We'll take the other kayak and bring it inside. Well, we made it back from lunch, and so I don't have a lot to do, but what we're going to do is mix up a little bit of epoxy. We'll take and clean this off, this bottom half, and we'll go ahead and put our last skim coat on both of these sides. And then after that, it'll just be sanding that all down. Probably won't get to that today, but it'll just be sanding this down so that we can put the first coat of varnish on. And I think at that particular point, we'll hold on this one here, so it's got at least a little bit of UV protection, and then we may be able to get it in the water. That'll be the biggest thing, is just making sure that it's got a little protection, but we could actually get it in the water after this.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding us back now. Let's move closer to a new history, find out what we can be together. Take my hand and we will conquer the world. This is our final chance. Choose right from wrong. We found the strength to go on together. To go on together. Yeah. To go on together.
So, I think that's it. So we've got both of the hatches, those finished. We've got all these little nubs, and I'll show you those. I've got 3 coats on the hull. And so 3 coats of epoxy on the hull. We've got 1 coat of this one, and then we could take and do another. We could do the hull, which that's going to be another skim coat. But really, all that we've got to do from there is then take and sand this down. So sweet. I think we're going to just let these things dry. I think we are finished for today. So thanks for subscribing. Make sure to hit that thumbs up if you like the content, and turn on your post notifications to catch all the episodes of the bucket list. Whether it's the kayak build, or we've got a bunch of new things kind of coming up, where we're going to take a little tour of the studio and kind of tear that apart and let you take a look at the inside of what I built with the studio. But thanks for watching.